Hi, it's Lethea from Farm View Creators. Today we're going to work on the Welcome Spring Interchangeable Window Box insert for from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. I love this insert. It is so cute, and we are going to use some fabric on it, and I'm super excited. So I am just sorting out the pieces on my sticky board based on what at that moment I am thinking about painting them. I'm going to go in with my Van Dyke Brown Semi-Gel Antiquing medium and going over with a makeup sponge and giving that just one coat, and it's going to dry really good while I do the rest. Then I decided to go in with my Farmhouse linen, which is a chalk style paint from Paint Couture. Van Dyke Brown is also from Paint Couture. Y'all know I love Paint Couture products. Again, using a makeup sponge, and then I'm going to go in with a new color, Queen's Court, which is such a gorgeous soft blue. Blue is my favorite color, by the way. So any shade of blue, I love. Giving that one coat, letting it dry, then I'll go back in with another coat. I'm going to use my ombre sponge, nail sponge kit for the painting of the little pieces. I love that little metal tool that grabs up the little sponges. I used more Queen's Court on that first flower, and now I'm going in with Barn Door, which is another chalk style. The pink is Vera at the Ballet. I'm gonna do 2 coats on the flowers, and then on that butterfly I decided just to go in and do ombre with those 3 flower colors. So I started with the red, then went to the pink, and ended with blue on the tips. In some of the pictures you can't really see it, but in person you can. Giving that second coat to all of those pieces. If I wanted the stained brown pieces to be darker, I could go in with another coat, which I have done before, and I love it no matter how many coats you put on it. I love Van Dyke Brown. Then I went in with Spanish Sunrise on the centers of the flowers, and then Pitch Black, which is a luscious black from Paint Couture. Usually only need 1 coat of that pitch black because it is just so solid. On the words, I am using a new color. It's called Gustav. It's kind of a cross between a super light gray and a creamy white. So there's just a small contrast between it and the Farmhouse linen. I wanted a little something on the background of that front plate that slides into the window box. So I decided to go in with Vera at the Ballet and just use the end of a paintbrush and do my dots. When you do dots, you want to make triangles, and I can't do anything straight, so my lines aren't straight, but it's okay. It works out. Then on the larger birdhouse, I am just giving it good coat of that Queen's Court. Then I'm going to go back in with my Van Dyke Brown on that other backboard piece. Most of that is going to be covered up, but in the window you will be able to see that backboard. And I had a little bit of extra on my sponge, so I just went ahead and did the whole thing. Doing a second coat on that Gustav, then a second coat on the Queen's Court, and now it's time for fabric. I love this fabric. It came in a bundle of, I want to say 4 different fabrics from Walmart, of all places. It wasn't that expensive. I got it for another Easter project, and I traced out the piece, got it wrong the first time, so I just flipped it over and fixed it. And now I'm cutting it out a little bit wider than my lines, going in with this Heat and Bond, tracing that same thing, cutting that, and kind of going on the line and inside the line on this piece. If I had to do this over again, this right here where I'm cutting out the window, I would not have cut out the 4 panes. I would have just gone ahead and cut out a whole square for that. There really was no need to try to keep those center cross pieces, but you know, hindsight's 20/20. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to press and hold. You don't want to rub with your little iron. You want to press and hold. Gonna let that cool. Again, cutting out those window panes. Should have just cut out this little arch area. And then taking off that backing and gonna press and hold. I put the parchment paper that I pulled off on top. I was just a little worried about direct heat on that. And then I'm going in with a nail file and trying to do those window pieces. It didn't work, but I did go in with my Gator mouse shaped sander and sanded all around the edges. And then there were a couple of places where it, you know, turned that I needed to use my nail file. It's my glass nail file. It works really well for this. And then I am going to go in with my Debi's DIY Dark Wax and just distress everything. I have a new brush that I got off of Amazon. It's much larger than my others. And anytime I got too much, I just wiped it back. After that, dead flat, of course. I'm getting around those edges of the fabric, making sure that I seal them to the wood piece a little heavier than I normally, and then just one coat on all the rest of the pieces, getting that super dry before I go in with my art glitter glue and glue all the pieces in. I love this because I have a little wiggle room. It dries clear and it does not make my fingers crusty. Getting all those pieces off of my sticky board and just starting to put this together. I did have to kind of move that second roof or that first roof that I just put down a little later, and I was still able to adjust it. There I go. That's why I love it, because sometimes when you're working, things get a little wonky and you just need to fix it real quick. And here's where I decided I should have just cut the whole piece. So I'm going in with a little, it's like a pen-shaped X-Acto knife and trying to cut out. It wasn't working, so I got my other tool, and that's when I just cut the whole thing out. The front arch is going to cover up any mishaps that I have, and there it looked so much better. So my advice, go ahead and just cut out the whole thing. Putting those buttons on and then lining up my birds and my flowers and my butterfly. Everything on the picket fence that is below that second horizontal piece is going to be kind of below the sight line in your window box. So you want to make sure that everything is kind of on that line or above, so that it's not completely out of sight. You can still see the score lines on that front plate, so I'm just making sure that I line that up, and then there you have it. I love, love, love it. It looks gorgeous. See what I mean about that sight line? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.